tonight, the Placer County Sheriff's Office announcing the arrest of one of their own. Wes Montz of Rocklin was taken into custody today on charges of forcible rape and sodomy of an intoxicated person. The department says they began investigating back in March, and Montz was placed on administrative leave. They say the two victims were dating him at the time. He's now being held at the Placer County Jail on a no-bail hold. And it is the second arrest of a Placer County deputy this week. In fact, on Wednesday, Jon Persinger of Rocklin was arrested for soliciting prostitution while on and off duty between September and November last year. He's also accused of illegally accessing telecommunications data. He was fired during the investigation, and he'd been with the department for 4 years.
Placer County Sheriff's deputy accused of rape. Second arrest involving a deputy in a week. A Placer County Sheriff's Office deputy was arrested on Friday for charges of forcible rape and sodomy of an intoxicated person, making it the second arrest of a county deputy this week. Wes Montz of Rocklin is being held at South Placer Jail without bail, the Sheriff's Office said. According to the Sheriff's Office, the allegations against Montz were discovered on March 14th, and an investigation began immediately. Montz, the Sheriff's Office said, was placed on administrative leave, and the investigation was sent to the Placer County District Attorney for review and filing of charges. The investigation revealed two alleged victims were in a dating relationship with Montz, the Sheriff's Office said. We uphold our core values to the highest degree, and any misconduct that meets the threshold for criminal prosecution will be dealt with such, said Placer County Sheriff Wayne Wu in a statement. We have already reported these findings to the California Commissions on Peace Officer Standards and Training under Senate Bill 2. On Wednesday, the Sheriff's Office announced the arrest of another deputy in Placer County, 44-year-old Jon Persinger, who is accused of soliciting prostitution and engaging in unlawful access to law enforcement telecommunications data.
Placer County Sheriff's deputy is out of a job and now facing criminal charges. Those charges involve sexual misconduct while on and off duty. Jon Persinger is accused of soliciting prostitution. Hello, I'm Gulston Dar.
And I'm Andrea Flores. We've also learned an Auburn woman filed a civil lawsuit against him, claiming he sexually assaulted her. KCRA 3's Michelle Bandor is live in Auburn tonight. So, Michelle, what have you learned?
Well, while announcing the news of the fired deputy's arrest, the Placer County Sheriff said, quote, "We have no tolerance for law enforcement misconduct on or off duty." And now Jon Persinger faces charges in both criminal and civil courts, accused of soliciting prostitution while on and off the job. 44-year-old Jon Persinger finds himself on the other side of the law. This is his mugshot, taken after being arrested by law enforcement colleagues with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. The former deputy faces 4 misdemeanor counts stemming from several incidents of misconduct between September and November of 2022, 2 charges of soliciting prostitution, and 2 more of unlawfully possessing the criminal history of another person. A civil lawsuit filed against Persinger by an Auburn woman spells out in detail the alleged sexual misconduct incidents. She's asking for damages for sexual assault by duress and coercion, by threats to retaliate, sexual battery, assault and battery, interference with civil rights, and gender violence. The woman claims Persinger came to her home in his patrol car and in uniform to take a theft report in September of 2022. But the court documents reveal her terror grew as his presence turned menacing when he showed her pictures on his phone of her on an escort website. She said she had no choice but to engage in sex acts. In November, she said he returned to her home in his patrol car and uniform again. She said she felt powerless as he demanded another sex act and told her he needed to see her twice a week or twice a month. The sheriff's office says when it was informed of the allegations in January, detectives and the district attorney's office conducted a joint investigation. Persinger was soon fired and arrested this week. Well, and that woman in the lawsuit claims that she has evidence from those incidents and that she also has conversations recorded on her home security system when she says Persinger came back to her home after she filed that complaint. Now, Persinger had been employed here at the Placer County Sheriff's Office for 4 years. He's expected to be in court to face these charges in September. Reporting live in Auburn, Michelle Bandur, KCRA 3 News.
Michelle, thank you so much for the update. And the sheriff's office also reported the allegations to the California Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training under Senate Bill 2.
Sacramento B. Woman alleges California deputy sexually assaulted her. Placer Sheriff's Office fired him. A Placer County Sheriff's deputy sexually assaulted an Auburn woman inside her home after she called authorities to report a theft, according to the allegations included in a civil lawsuit filed last month. A 58-year-old woman, identified in court documents as Jane Doe, alleged then Deputy Jon Patrick Persinger sexually assaulted her on 2 occasions in the fall of 2022. She said the deputy, dressed in his sheriff's uniform with his badge and gun, forced her into performing oral sex, fearing he would report or arrest her for working as an escort, according to the lawsuit filed April 13th in a Placer Superior Court. Sheriff's officials said they first learned of the allegations against Persinger on January 12th, the same day the woman's attorney filed a claim seeking damages from Placer County. The county later rejected Jane Doe's legal claim, which paved the way for the lawsuit. But the filed claim included details of the sexual assault allegations, and the sheriff's office said they launched an investigation in conjunction with the Placer County District Attorney's Office. The Placer County Sheriff's Office also placed Persinger on administrative leave during the investigation. Persinger has since been fired from his job as a deputy, according to the Sheriff's Office, and prosecutors are reviewing the results of an internal investigation to determine whether the encounters merit criminal charges. Daniel M. Gillen, a San Diego-based lawyer who filed the lawsuit on behalf of the Auburn woman, said the suit would continue to make its way through the court system despite the pending criminal investigations and the Sheriff's Office quick action in firing Persinger. "She's terrified," Gillen said in an email to the Sacramento Bee. "She lives alone in a small town and has every reason to be fearful of the armed men in uniform she used to believe were there to protect her." Michael J. Weiss, a Sacramento-based attorney representing Persinger, did not respond to requests by the Bee seeking comment on the allegations or the suit. Persinger and Placer County are listed as defendants in the civil lawsuit. The Placer County Counsel's Office also did not respond to requests by the Bee seeking comment. The civil case is scheduled to continue August 7th for case management conference. She called to report a theft. The alleged sexual assault occurred at Jane Doe's apartment in Auburn. On September 9th, she called the Sheriff's Office to report a theft of personal property. Persinger called the woman about 9:30 a.m. that day and left her a voicemail message before he arrived at her home about 11 a.m. in his marked sheriff's vehicle in his uniform, according to the suit. She assumed the deputy was there to complete a written report on the theft, so she invited him inside her home and began telling him about the theft. The lawsuit alleges that Persinger was instead preoccupied with something on his phone, his eyes going back and forth between gazing at her and looking at his phone. She gave the deputy the phone numbers for her apartment complex on-site and off-site managers. The lawsuit alleges that the deputy called both managers, putting a finger to his lips to indicate to Doe that she should not talk. "I have done everything about your property, as you can see," the deputy told her, according to the lawsuit. "So I want to tell you about the first time I was here. The neighbor in another apartment ran me down as running her mouth about you and told me you were an escort." The woman suddenly realized why Persinger was in her living room, and her terror grew as his presence became menacing, the suit alleges. She denied knowing what the deputy was talking about. She alleges that Persinger then turned his phone around to show her a website displaying photographs of her. "The woman who is in this picture is the same woman who is in front of me," the deputy told her, according to the lawsuit. The woman alleges that Persinger continued scrolling on his phone before telling her she was hot. It was clear to the woman that Persinger was demanding sex in chains for not arresting or reporting her, according to the lawsuit. The woman said she felt she had no choice but to submit to the armed law enforcement official who was alone with her in her apartment. The deputy walked to her son's bedroom, put his radio on the dresser, and removed his service belt holstering his gun and threw it on the bed before the belt and the gun bounced onto the floor, according to the lawsuit. Jane Doe said she told the deputies he would not have sex with him, and he told her he was good with oral sex. How thoughtful of him. After she was forced into the alleged sexual assault, the deputy gave her his cell phone number. She briefly mentioned to him a legal matter involving her son, and he promised to get back to her on that matter, according to the suit. Second alleged sex assault. Weeks went by without hearing from Persinger again, the woman alleges. Jane Doe said she was relieved that he hadn't returned. But the deputy returned to her home about 3:20 p.m., November 17th. The suit alleges the woman said she heard someone knock on her door and ignored it, but the knocking became more aggressive. Jane Doe looked through the peephole and saw Deputy Persinger standing in full uniform with his Mark Series vehicle parked in front of her yard, according to the lawsuit. Although frozen in fear, she still did not answer the door. The woman said she received a text message from Persinger a few minutes later that read, "Just saying hello." The aggressive knocking on her door continued, and she said she felt she had no option but to open the door. "I've been out here several times. I drive by your apartment many times. And I think about you," the deputy told the woman, according to her lawsuit. "I thought you would see my vehicle. I park right in front of you. I've been watching your ad." She alleges that the deputy told her he looked into her son's case and asked if her other son still worked at a jewelry store. She said she then became fearful for her family. The deputy handed her a $20 bill while discussing her son's legal matter, according to the lawsuit. The woman said she felt powerless. The lawsuit describes how she performed oral sex on Persinger that day. Jane Doe said she kept a towel he used after the sex act and the $20 bill he gave her. Before he left her home, Persinger told her that he was monitoring her website and he needed to see her twice a week or twice a month, according to the lawsuit. What a creep. Like, honestly, what a fucking creep, disgusting, abusive monster. Straight from some TV show about bad cops. Sheriff's Office fires deputy. 11 days later, she retained an attorney and was advised to send a text message to Persinger that read, "Are you coming soon?" It was a pretext message, according to the suit. Pretext messages or phone calls are commonly used in investigation to elicit incriminating evidence from a suspect. But Persinger didn't respond to Jane Doe's text message until January 13th, the day after she filed a claim seeking damages and the sheriff's office learned of the allegations of sexual misconduct against the deputy. The lawsuit alleges that Persinger replied to Jane Doe's message with "Today." She said she then sent him a text message and asked Persinger to send her a selfie. She said he didn't respond, but showed up later that day to her home. He entered wearing his uniform. Jane Doe said she recorded the conversation on home cameras. Deputy Persinger can be heard saying in a panicked tone that he felt weird and admitting, "I was pressuring you," according to the lawsuit. Jane Doe said she told the deputy that she was okay, then he left her home. Sheriff's office said late last month that after thorough internal investigation, Persinger was terminated from his job at the sheriff's office. Criminal investigative report had been submitted to the district attorney's office and was still being reviewed. The sheriff's office said it takes all allegations seriously and would hold its employees accountable for their actions. We have no tolerance for law enforcement misconduct on or off duty. This incident is an ill representation of the culture and core values that our men and women work so hard to maintain, Sheriff Wayne Wu said in a written statement sent to the Bee. Under Senate Bill 2, we have already reported the allegations to the California Commissions on Peace Officer Standards and Training. Previous law enforcement work. Persinger worked for the Placer County Sheriff's Office since December 2018, according to his LinkedIn profile. He worked as a Union City Police Officer in Alameda County from April 2008 to December 2018. The former deputy identifies himself in his LinkedIn profile as a security and law enforcement professional with over 15 years of experience with major focus in computer crimes, financial crimes, and developing software programs. Interesting. Jane Doe's attorney said legal claims like these are typically met with a lot of resistance from detectives assigned to investigate allegations against one of their fellow officers. It's not uncommon that the law enforcement agency initially takes a circle the wagons approach, sometimes even turning the evidence against the victims as though they can be bullied into dropping the claims, Gillian said. But the attorney said Placer County so far has demonstrated genuine concern to thoroughly and competently investigate the allegations and to protect its citizens from potential predator in uniform. Gillian said he is not surprised the district attorney's office has not yet filed criminal charges against Persinger because prosecutors typically spend many months working with internal affairs investigators to build cases against law enforcement officers. He said it's possible the judge could delay the civil case until any potential prosecution is completed.
Received a tip regarding a rumor that Wayne Wu had an inappropriate relationship with a minor many years ago.
So I'm an investigative journalist, and I'm working on a story, and I wanted to come, get comment from you. I've had deputies that have come on record, former deputies, with some pretty serious allegations, and, obviously before publishing, I wanted to, come to you first. Right. Well, they said that you engaged in statutory rape of a minor back in around 2000. Not true at all?
Completely not true.
During the course of our investigation, we obtained an exclusive affidavit written by Charles Jeffrey Wilson, a 23-year veteran of the Placer County District Attorney's Office, detailing irregularities in how the Sheriff's Office handled the investigation at the time. Wilson claims that current Sheriff Devin Bell should have contacted the DA's office when a criminal allegation was made against a county employee.
He stated now that his office had done the investigation with oversight of county counsel, contrary to his earlier statement. In the past, when allegations that are criminal in nature are made against an employee of the sheriff's office, they were referred to an outside agency to conduct the investigation. The district attorney's office was never asked to assist in this investigation, nor was a case referred to our office for review.
Wilson goes on to state in his affidavit that Sheriff Devin Bell did not conduct an unbiased investigation.
I was then contacted soon thereafter by Sheriff Devin Bell. He told me that Wu admitted having a sexual relationship with the alleged victim. He said they were able to determine the alleged victim was 18 and not underage, based on a document they found related to when the alleged victim was on a ride along with the sheriff's department. If the investigation was done appropriately and correctly, it would have been in their interest to show me that there was a thorough investigation that came to an unbiased conclusion supported by evidence. They refused. That left the impression that they feared I would immediately notice that the investigation was not handled properly, and their unfounded conclusion was not credible. It was clearly not unfounded in the sense that Wu admitted that he had a sexual relationship with the alleged victim. Calling it unfounded is an overstatement and leaves the impression that there was no merit in the allegations when in fact there was. It also serves as a legal basis not to disclose the information to the public. Simply stated, regardless of the strength of the evidence, if Bell claims it's unfounded, he never has to share it with the public.
Sheriff Bell's claims that the allegations were unfounded implied he never had to share the findings to the public. This proved to be true when ABC 10 requested a copy of the internal investigation through a California public records request, and ABC 10 was denied.
If you look at our policies and procedures for any criminal activity, it says Placer County policy and procedures, any criminal activity suspected by any employee will be directly turned over to the district attorney's office. So they decide, they being Wayne and Devin Bell,
To do it in-house.
In-house investigation. So you see how dirty it is, dude?
Ryan Berry is a retired deputy who worked closely with Wu for over 20 years. He also believes that the investigation was handled improperly.
And they decide, well, we're just going to investigate this in-house. So at that point, who handles it?
They violate their own policy.
They violate their own policy. And who does the investigation? Is it IA?
Subordinates to Wayne. his captains, lieutenants.
That's crazy that things were so bad that multiple cops knew what he did and nobody did anything.
Yeah, because they're afraid of him. Because when Wayne got wind of, I was getting ready to, tell my story, what I knew about his past. So he sends his captain, Steinhauer, He's like, Wayne wants to know what you want. What do you mean? He goes, he wants to know what you want. What do you want to keep your mouth shut, right?
Really? Who said this to you?
Daryl Steinhauer.
Daryl Steinhauer?
Right.
And who is he?
The captain.
In 2018, Barry broke his silence, which led to the internal investigation of Wu.
June 1st of 2002.
June 1st, 2002.
Yeah. He was telling me, he says, I gotta talk to you, You know, we're sitting at a table like this. He's like, what happened? You know, and he's like, well, I've been seeing this girl. So, okay, whatever. And he's all, no, she's 16 and all that. It looks like 32, 33, right?
Right.
Barry wasn't the only person aware of these allegations. Garland Liu, another retired deputy, also discussed the Wu investigation with our journalist.
Well, you know, it's kind of one of those things where back in the days there were people that were hanging out with younger girls, but hanging out's not the illegal part.
Right. It's the statutory part.
Yeah, it's the statutory part, and that's the thing. There's only two people that are going to know whether that's true or not. We can go meet a 17-year-old girl right now.
100%.
100%. As long as we're not talking about getting in her pants.
100%.
Bad thing.
Right.
If you ran a story on it, God help you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he'll come after you.
Wayne would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They would. I mean, he has an attorney.
Oh, yeah.
He has friends.
It appears that the determination that the allegation is unfounded was made by Sheriff Bell. He has a close personal relationship with Wu. I've been advised that they are personal friends who socialize outside of work. It would also be politically embarrassing for the sheriff's office if the allegation were true.
It appears the investigation into Wu's alleged inappropriate relationship with a minor was severely flawed, leaving the rumors to fester.